Hello, my name is Matthew Pfeiffer with mattpfeiffercoaching.com, and this is my YouTube channel, Matt Pfeiffer Coaching, and I answer questions about narcissism. I talk about all things narcissism on this channel. And if you would like for me to answer one of your questions right here on YouTube, you can email me at justaskmatt@mattpfeiffercoaching.com, and just give me a little bit of time. I have a lot of emails. I have a lot of people, a lot of paid coaching clients that I need to see first, but I will get to your email. Just make sure that you keep your email 2 to 3 paragraphs max, being very direct and very to the point of the question that you're asking. Make sure that spelled correctly and those sorts of things, so I'm not fumbling around on camera. However, if you want my assistance and you need assistance quicker, the fastest way to get a hold of me is to book a paid coaching session, and you can do that by going to mattpfeiffercoaching.com. All of that and all of my other info, including my podcast, Toxic to Triumph, will be in the description. And with that being said, let me get to this email. So this email goes, Matt, I am looking for clarity on my situation with my husband. My husband and I started dating 6 years ago, and I immediately noticed red flags. So you notice red flags and you marry him anyway. This is screaming, absolutely screaming codependency, because quite often when I meet with someone, I actually bring up when they very first met the narcissist, and they will tell you that they saw red flags and they did not listen to their own intuition. What does that mean? That means that they're not validating their own feelings. They need outside validation. They need external validation. They need other people to tell them what to do. That is one of the core essences of codependency. So this email continues as he wanted to know my entire sexual past. Very uncomfortable. None of his business. Got extremely upset that I was friendly with ex-partners and was over the top about knowing where I was and what I was doing. Very controlling, obviously. After deciding to date exclusively, I let him in more on my past, and he claims I was deceitful. This is a double bind. No matter what you would have told this guy, he would have been upset, right? You tell him you've had 10 sexual partners, he accuses you of lying. And so let's say that there is one person that you forgot about, or there was a sexual encounter that wasn't intercourse, but you went on a date with the guy, then he will call you deceitful, just like you did. It's a double bind. No matter what you say, no matter what you tell him, no matter what story you come up, what you tell him, he's not going to be happy with it. Even though I have tried to explain that I did not feel I owed him an explanation, you didn't, nor did I feel comfortable sharing specifics. Now, this is something really important. You felt like you didn't know him an explanation. Guess what that was? That was your own personal boundary. The fact that you did not listen to yourself is another area showing that you are struggling with codependency, and that this was a boundary that you let him fly past. This was a point where you should have said, listen, I'm done with this, either with him or with sharing your past. I did not feel I owed him an explanation, nor did I feel comfortable sharing specifics on my life with him after only knowing him for a few weeks. Fast forward, we are now 3 years into marriage with 2 kids under 2. Early on in our relationship, my husband revealed that he was molested by his paternal grandfather. Very sad, but you're going to see very quickly how a narcissist will take things like this and they will use it as a means of manipulation, right? Very sad, but it's not an excuse for bad behavior. It's not an excuse to abuse others. I want to make that very clear. We have empathy for what he's gone through, but it's not an excuse to treat people however you want, right? It's not a pass. So he was molested by his paternal grandfather, and claims that that was the reason for his anger. See what he's doing here, right? because now that he's using this, what he's doing is that every time he gets angry, he has an excuse. Well, I was molested in the past, so that means that you can't call me out for being angry, right? That's exactly what he's doing here. So he claims that this was the reason for his anger and his substance abuse. He has now let me know that this happened to him hundreds of times, and it was videotaped and threatened. And once again, if it's true, because narcissists do lie a lot and they do embellish the truth, if it's true, once again, very sad, but it's also not an excuse for him to be angry towards you, and it's also not an excuse for substance abuse, right? It might be a reason why, but what should he do? He should go get help, and he should take care of these issues. That's what healthy people do, right? They go to therapy, they take care of these issues, they heal these childhood wounds, so then they don't affect family members and people that we care about, and so we don't extend that pain onto someone else. In April of this year, after physical abuse began, see how he's starting to escalate, right? It began with a lot of verbal stuff and a lot of control, and now it's physical. And he's still using the excuse. In April of this year, after physical abuse began, I moved out of our home with our 2 children. We briefly tried to reconcile, but I found that he did not have it in him to change. Narcissists do not. He claims that he is doing everything to heal, and that his past sexual abuse that is causing the behavior, stating that if I just waited, I would see the positive changes that he's making and take him back. No, right? The reason why I say no is because you already have a pattern. He has not shown any sort of pattern, right? You will hear me say this often. A lot of my clients, a lot of people I work with hear me say this. There's pattern and there's potential. He may have a lot of potential. He may be very charismatic. He may have a great job and things of that nature. But what has this pattern shown? This pattern has shown that not only is he highly abusive, physically abusive, manipulative, he will also use things that bring people a lot of empathy, right? That he's playing on your emotions, so to speak, as an excuse for his bad behavior, right? So this continues, and you tried to reconcile and it didn't work, right? So he had his chance. He has used all of the typical narcissistic behaviors: devaluation, gaslighting, emotional abuse, manipulation, blackmail, verbal abuse. You have your answer. You listed it out all right there, right? This is something that you need to move on from. He has threatened my family. It's another one. Threatened my family, and even gotten into a physical altercation with a close family friend, right? This guy is not to be trusted, right? And this guy is clearly out of control, number one, and when he has boundaries like this, he feels like he can just bully his way to getting whatever it is that he wants. Clearly that's not working for him, but this does not sound like someone who's willing to do what it takes to earn his family back. And I did say earn, not win them back. You guys are a prize, but you're not to be won over. You're to be earned, right? Through therapy, that sort of thing, consistent for a long period of time, because we're talking about hundreds of times of being molested, and if we're talking about years of abuse and as a child, that's a lot of therapy. That's not like, let's go patty cake in therapy for 6 weeks. We're talking about years of therapy along with good behavior, without the manipulation, without the control, and those sorts of things, right? So we're not even close. We're not even in the same ballpark, on top of the fact that he's exhibiting a lot of narcissistic behavior. So the email continues. He claims they are poisoning me, and that they want to see our family break up, and if it wasn't for them, I would come back. Once again, let's look at the pattern, right? You've probably heard me say it on this channel or in other channels. You need to stand in your truth. He's abusive. He's fighting family, friends. He's manipulative. He's abusive. He's gaslighting, right? You can take your family out of the picture, and what you have is still the truth, that he's physically abused you. He has substance abuse issues, right? These are all your truth. Stand in your truth, right? It's not likely that your family is poisoning you. It's likely that they're telling you the truth. So the email continues. My question is this situation any different from any other narcissist due to his past trauma? I'm going to stop there for a second. No, it is not, because all narcissists have past trauma. That's what a lot of people don't know. All narcissists have past trauma. Some of them will tell you about their past trauma. Some of them will lie or embellish about their past trauma, but all narcissists have past trauma. So no, it is not any different. The difference is that he let you in on that, but he let you in on that for a different type of reason. It was to manipulate you, right? So no, it's not any different. Because of his past trauma is not an excuse for bad behavior. So the email continues. If so, is reconciliation possible? No. Let me take that back. It's possible. You can go back if you want to, but you will be abused, and the behavior will not only will it continue, it will get worse. You notice how this email, it got worse. It started out with manipulation and control and ended up with physical abuse and fighting, right? So it will get worse. He will make it more difficult for you to leave the next time around if you go back. The email continues. I am sure I have some codependency issues. You are 100% correct, and I want to move on. Do it. And you need to start, now that you're gone, you need to start working and healing on yourself. I would go no or low contact. You have kids, so I would say low contact. That means only talking to them about the kids only. And the email continues. What game plan or path should I take to start healing and moving on with 2 small children? How do I limit contact? Number one, you need to get a divorce. You need to have a decree in place. You need to be looking at and highly considering a protective order, right? And these are some things that you need to, because he is, from the sounds of it, he's not the type of person that is going to respect boundaries or the law, right? So you will likely have to enforce the law, right? And so you need a paper trail as much as you possibly can, and you need to get everything down on paper legally. I would hire a lawyer. I would go talk to 2 or 3 lawyers and start to put a game plan in place, and start to put a decree in place, and get the custody arrangements on paper, right? This is the type of person that you would need to make sure that the pickup and drop-offs are at either a fire station or a police station, or that pickup and drop off, you're doing it at school, and when so one person drops the kids off, the other person picks them up. And when you're not doing that, that the pickup and drop offs, like if it's during the summertime, that they're happening in a public and a safe area like a police station, right? Because this guy is dangerous. He's physically abused you. He has substance abuse issues. You may pull up one day for an exchange. He may be completely drunk, and you can't give him the kids, right? Because that's now a violation, right? It's a violation of the children if you're going to give them to him when he's been drinking and he's driving, those sorts of things. So you need to make sure that you protect yourself in all angles, right? Protective order, custody order, and you have a paper trail, so then you're able to enforce things if he starts to act this way again, which the likelihood of him doing these sorts of things is very high, right? So thank you guys for listening in and tuning into my channel. If you would like for my assistance one-on-one, once again, the fastest way to get in touch with me is to go to my website, mattpfeiffercoaching.com. If you would like for me to answer a question for you right here on YouTube, send me an email. Keep it 2 to 3 paragraphs max. Being very direct, very to the point. Make sure that you are somewhat grammatically grammatically correct. You don't have to be perfect. I'm not an English teacher. I'm not grading these or anything like that. But send that to justaskmatt@mattpfeiffercoaching.com. And until then, I will talk to you soon.